Hello everyone, I am G.E. Gresha. I'm a surreal poet. I have a bit of mixed work. All of them are works in progress, so we shall see how they go. For the first half, we are going to read more of the surreal pieces. They're more lyrical and a little tangled in the syntax, but I think they're at least enjoyable to hear. The first one will be called Paradiso Empalizado, which mainly means paradise and defense, and it's a man in his dream. And the birds sing like they're never sought, at least not in this acreage, in this budding, sparse, and thicketed baby's breath. If it wasn't for their radiant coats, a peaking yellow breast radiating through the petals' translucent nature, variants of pink or blush, especially white, as they tend to suscept to varicosity the longer they live, and harvest might seem to love to live in relatively frail things. You could think flowers chirp from their trumpet horn rim, using those pollen stems as an arrangement of uvulas, a pistol choir, if you will. He lingered, strolled, nursed the limp, a lifted heel, because the dream says so, and make no mistake, he would teeter between footbeds to stay within, grasping either the antelope's ways or the bark, its brittle yet rugged wood he has wiped his hands with after dappling honeysuckle it was on his tongue last time, but no time this time, and they aren't sweet, and they aren't ripe, not sweet by an ounce. Pressing forward against the wind, unwrapping the hairs coiling about his neck, wondering where has the bird song gone. The palms of his feet begin to burn. Grass turns into dirt, dirt, gravel, gravel, stone. He hurries, dragging the leg, having spotted a lake, almost gelatinous to the touch, dumps himself into the drop-off, claws himself back up, gazes high, goes to gaze low, and catches sight on the waterline like a flea on a matador, a comet amidst stars, a body floating in his dream. All right. Our next one will be Fleur de Lis Day. Fleur de Lis is the symbol that New Orleans often uses, the symbol of prosperity, often seen in gates. And the cigarette goes down behind his arm, the one lying listlessly on the rail, wrought iron furled into balcony art for the passerby, the one who won't leave. He visited France, prefers non to not, and now tells our smoker, our Creole cottage owner with his eye on the fading ember glow. He'll have to run inside again, light his gas stove, and turn it down to a warm orange flame, and, before the casket above the eye gets hot, pinch his cigarette through quickly and enough. Cigarettes should spark like fireworks when lit, but they don't. He'll inhale, hold his breath, bruise the wrapper between his lips as he rushes out those paying double doors. He stopped smoking when his father got cancer. He resumed when he died. The passerby points up, almost at him, at the lush hanging plant, reaching the rail, rainforest green, like elephant ears, not like elephant ears. The smoker nods, squints. Ash flakes detach, drift on and off the balcony before landing on the cottage owner's shoe. Loafer, suede, and heel. And these next two kind of go hand in hand, but I'm going to break them up. The first one is he's dreaming, and then in the second one, he'll wake up. So the first one is he's dreaming of pine crowning the lake, white as men's skin, colorless spring churned blossoms speckle the cold-born ash-toned bark, not yet able to fall into the wind, personify the storm coming, break the bulbous congealed waves milky in their ascent, having revertebrated to the granulous rim and returned, surface tension healed and accounted for, floating metrics, a bob the heartbeat creates to stabilize the man, insisting his palms rest face down, and the wince and the furrowing of the revelation there is salt and fresh water deemed collectives, and the salt rushing to his wounds feel kosher in size when the body bobs beneath and the water reaches near him to milkify itself from its density. Oh, unpack carpless depths. He tries not to be painfully aware. Salt is on the bed, unstirred and unfathomable. It is the blood from a knelt pursuit refusing to lift from his clothes, enriching its blood tones against water, bulbous and dense. He closes his eyes in here and still sees the sky, crowned in the fleeting blooms, pretty and indifferent to its majesty. Right side up, pathway stone, steam water that has spilled over, burning moist tones of the easy, the given, the molecular gist of the world. Only blood can stain stone, the blood of the hellbent.
Can I say, what was the very last word you said in that reading? Because I want to get that word correct.
The blood of the hellbent.
The hellbent.
Yes, you're welcome. Our next one is, he wakes. He wakes into a panic, no, simply disturbed. Blue bulb lamp lights create fine shadows of dust on his chest, whereas the sweat beads, no, bubbles, moisture of the skin, how hair slickens from our own pores, but slicken up into his eyes as I imagine dried veins to become browning and thin, because when he returned from convulsing in and out of dreams, we'll say like a pendulum swings, propelled against his own weight, he returned upright without his eyes, his mother's haze, his pupils quivered and the cavernous points of his skull, and he looked toward the northern wall and saw nothing. The body turned east, shifting its clavicle to drag the soul near the sun, where it should be, has been routinely, ritualistically, some could say. Clenched duvet sops the awakening, chills teething in his pecs. Before his downturned lips lock, calcaneus bone form around the contortion, hunching the muscles of the tongue to eat, light in an even blinding tone, dismissing shadows, markers of depth, compounding gradients for which I cannot tell the source, appears. And we have made it to the second portion. The work becomes a little more biographical. So, as said, I am from Alabama. I've written a few poems about my experiences from there. The next one is called Mulga, Alabama, which is a small town, really more like a county, not too many people. And the only reason I know it is because my dad's family lives there. I remember, Mulga, Alabama. I remembered today that I could remember Mulga. Everyone has to drive slow. Someone has to pull over to let the other pass. My dad's side lives there, within walking distance of each other. Their wooden houses poke out of the tree line. I can never remember the inside of my aunt's home, but I know a rabbit is in a cage on her porch, usually white, usually my cousin's pet. Mother reminds us their country, eat roadkill country, eat the whole pig. Those grandparents' house seems so large, yet I have not and will not see more than half the same space as guests see. We looked down concrete stairs that were a voiced hazard. An uncle lived down there. My mother called him Die Hard. My dad and his brothers rode Harleys, and he never wore the gear. Heard his guts were on the pavement more than once. He died a natural death, but I couldn't tell you about the quality of his life. Was this living to them? There were lakes if you knew where to look. Dolls float like humans when we're not kicking and screaming. The fishing hook in my most exterior layer of skin did not make me scream. It was country boys, stabbing a turtle tucked in its shell, the twig dripping in turtle blood. And this next piece, it had hit me after I had read it at one of the other shows, but I probably wrote it because I had seen that the Penguin TV show just came out on HBO, and I've always been very interested in the first depiction of the penguin. So I wrote this piece, and somehow my brain connected it. The penguin. This will be short, just a micro thought. Do you know what I love? A nose with a large protruding bridge. A man with a large nose is a delight, like trivia. Guess the bloodline that has produced that anomaly. A Texan gave one to my brother, a nose we lovingly call an airplane because of the hump. I knew my ex-boyfriend was not black because of his, despite his skin. And the man I would like to have has a very distinct honker, a real birthmark. When he speaks, the tip bends and it is weird and it is a Turkish delight. Have you ever watched the classic Batman movie with Michael Keaton and the first depiction of the penguin? A disgusting wobbling wings for hands creation, a weaponized umbrella. There's a scene where that penguin bites hard into a character's nose right at the bridge, and black blood runs down both of their faces. And if the man I would like ever pisses me off on the right day, at the right time, in my face, telling me exactly where he thinks I should go, I will take him there with me. Thank you. And yes, I think I'll end with a Halloween poem that I created a few days ago. Mainly about these skeleton earrings that I usually wear. Today I have in the leaves, but I'm a very seasonal person. So, skeleton earrings. Meredith said she's too old to wear those, too close to the real thing. I own a silver and white pair, and the silver skeletons seem fun. They're bionic like Wolverine, blitzing like disco balls, iridescent like glitter. They are how we want to see our skeletons, having a good time in the underworld. Because the white are the color of bone stripped clean by maggots after years and years the body couldn't count, cold and dark in the wooden casket, which was once cramped with flesh and worms who have now made their way out of such a lonely place, the bones lying futile, the metacarpals wishing to pull the worn sleeve over their knuckles as the soil gets damp and cold this lowly in the earth. The white skeletons are not sparkly, not fun, not placed into the body of supermen, just trying to stay warm and man. Thank you.